my face. Well, my camera is in my camera bag in my bedroom, and my fiance is sleeping in there at the moment, and I think she would be quite cross with me if I went in there and I woke her up just to get my camera out. So I am just gonna be recording my screen. My apologies, but we get to finally, I don't think we've ever looked at this website in this full view. I actually just have it up as the little half screen skinny view. So this is pretty exciting. Before we get started, a special thank you to all of my channel members: Josh, Cameron, Blunt, Too Heavy, Isaiah Robeson, Jaeger, Bomb, Legend, Noble, Bowles, Micah, Carter, Andreas Anderson, Rhea, Vincent Tremblay, Tristan Hoffman, James Isn't Real, Ryan Peters, and Andrew Peacock. Okay, guys. So we're going to start the AFC, move to the interconference games, and finish with the NFC. And finally, this is the first week. We have 4 teams on the bye. Alright, now. This game right here is the one I'm least looking forward to predicting. So we'll do it first, I reckon. Bills versus Texans. This is going to be a close game. Last week, obviously, the Bills had a bit of a stinker. That's a bit of an understatement. The Baltimore Ravens run rampant all over the Bills. Just shook them down, took their lunch money, the whole 9 yards. And going into that game, I said that the Bills were my favorite for the Super Bowl at that point. They looked completely incapable of stopping the run last week. Going up against the Houston Texans team that, both teams are 3-1. Both teams have looked really good. I think this is going to be a very, very close game. I think it's going to be a very close game. But I might give the edge to the Bills. Colts versus Jaguars. The Colts, they have Joe Flacco, who will probably be starting for them. I don't know if that's been confirmed or what have you, but Richardson obviously left the game. Versus the Jaguars now. The Colts are 2-2. The Jaguars are 0-4. On paper, I feel like the Jaguars should be the better team. But just so far this season, they've showed absolutely nothing for me to be confident about. I don't know. Doug Peterson had this press conference today where he basically was telling reporters that he hasn't lost the locker room. And I feel like when you have to tell people you haven't lost the locker room, that means you've lost the locker room. So I'm going to pick the Colts. Ravens versus Bengals. Bengals finally got their first win last week, and Ravens got their best win last week. They had an absolutely dominant performance against the Buffalo Bills. That two-pronged attack of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson finally materialized in the way that I thought that it would. The Bengals had a good game as well, but playing a much, shaky start, but they are still, in my opinion, one of the best teams in the league. I'm going to take them this week. Patriots, Dolphins. The Dolphins are absolutely abysmal right now, which, given how things went for them last season, I didn't think I'd be saying that. And the Patriots look more competent. I'm not saying they look good, I think they look more competent. Now, there's the added thing of the Dolphins kind of always being the Patriots' kryptonite, even when the Dolphins are bad and the Patriots are good, but I'll take the Patriots here. I think the Dolphins are, pardon the pun, floundering at the moment. Raiders versus Broncos. Now, Broncos did have a very impressive win last week. They're 2-2, and even with Bo Nix kind of struggling and not doing too much, they're still getting wins. They have a very potent run offense. But the Las Vegas Raiders have won the last 8 games they have played against the Denver Broncos. The last 8 games. Now, this is in Mile High Stadium, but that Raiders defense is just so potent. Bo Nix, obviously, it's obvious he doesn't have to do much to lead this Broncos team to a win. But even though I don't trust this Raiders offense, I think the Raiders will get this done. I think they'll extend that to a 9-game win streak. Now, obviously, as I often tend to do, I've really bet against home teams here. Obviously, this might happen. Even this very well could be how this looks next week right here, but I'm gonna do this personally. Interconference game, Jets versus Vikings. This game is in London. This is the London game. Minnesota is slated as the home team. Coming off of, they're the only undefeated team left in the NFL. The Chiefs are also undefeated, so the Vikings are one of 2 undefeated teams left in the NFL. The Jets are coming off of a really, really bad loss, just a really bad game overall against the Denver Broncos. And the team just looked discombobulated. Coaching, obviously an issue in New York. Nobody really seemed to be on the same page. Whereas, like I said last week in my review, the Minnesota Vikings might have the best coaching staff in the NFL. So, they're 4-0. I'm not going to bet against them. Give me the Vikings. Okay, Cleveland Browns versus Washington Commanders. Cleveland has 3 straight losses now, and the Commanders have back-to-back wins. Jaden Daniels, that offense is balling out. That team has a lot of swagger. That team has a lot of confidence. And I think that's going to matter in this matchup. Give me the Commanders. Dallas versus Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson very well may be activated and playing QB2 next week. Now, the Steelers did lose last week. They lost to the Colts, and that was the Joe Flacco Colts game. Cowboys are coming off a mini bye. They beat the Giants. But I think that I just have a hard time betting against Pittsburgh right now, honestly. It's a really good team overall. Saints versus Chiefs. Now the Chiefs, obviously Rashee Rice goes down with a really bad injury. Travis Kelce has not looked like himself whatsoever. To say he's had a slow start to the season would be a compliment. Patrick Mahomes has thrown more interceptions through the first 4 weeks than any other point in his career. Yet that hasn't really seemed to affect them too badly. They're 4-0. And the Saints are 2-2. Now, in my heart, I feel like the Saints are going to win this game. I feel like the bad luck cards, the Chiefs, they finally have piled up a little bit too much, and they're not going to be able to get out from under it. But there's part of me that knows that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid practice witchcraft, and somehow they are going to win this game. And just like with the Vikings, the Chiefs are undefeated so far, and obviously I think at some point this season that undefeated streak will come to an end. Until it does, the smart money is to bet that they will keep winning. Falcons, Buccaneers, both teams coming off good wins last year, a divisional matchup, obviously, so a very important game. Now, the edge here I think that I am going to give to the Falcons is that I think the Falcons have a very good running offense, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a very bad running defense. Tampa Bay is not great at stopping the run, and I think that will be the difference maker in this matchup. Panthers versus Bears. Give me the Chicago Bears to win this one. Right now they're 2-2. The offense seems to be slowly getting better week over week. The defense has been good all season. This Panthers team did a little bit of a glimmer of hope with that big win when Andy Dalton first came in. Kind of came crashing back down to earth last week. I'll take the Bears. Cardinals versus Niners. Niners have been struggling. Christian McCaffrey is probably going to miss the rest of this season. But on this Cardinals team, Harrison has looked really good. Even in losses, I thought there's been some bright spots for this team. But right now, I feel like the 49ers are more proven this season. I'm just going to give them the slight edge there. Giants, Seahawks. Even though we had a loss last week, the Seahawks continue to have a really good offense. Geno Smith leads the entire NFL in passing yards. We set the record for first downs in a loss last week. So even though we did lose against a really good Detroit Lions team, I felt like there was a lot of positives to take away from that game, especially because our entire front five on defense was out injured. We should be getting a couple of those guys back this week. I think the Seahawks should win this game against the Giants. And finally, Packers versus Rams. Jordan Love had a rough game last week, but I think maybe he'll shake the rust off a little bit. I do still trust him quite a bit. The Rams have faltered after their kind of hot first 2 weeks, and they've looked pretty bad the last 2 weeks. So I'm going to give the edge there to the Green Bay Packers. So these are my predictions for week 5. Buffalo beating Houston, Indianapolis beating Jacksonville, Baltimore beating Cincinnati, New England beating Miami, Las Vegas beating Denver, Minnesota beating New York, Washington beating Cleveland, Pittsburgh beating Dallas, and Kansas City beating New Orleans. And then in the NFC we have Atlanta beating Tampa Bay, Chicago beating Carolina, San Francisco beating Arizona, Seattle beating New York, and Green Bay defeating the Los Angeles Rams. Anyway guys, I'm sorry for no camera today. Thank you so much for watching the video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single day. Till next time guys.